Every encounter, every stare, every twitch of a finger on a trigger had the potential to ignite a firestorm. The soldiers knew that their actions could have far-reaching consequences, not just for themselves, but for the entire world. The Korean Peninsula remained a focal point of Cold War tensions, a place where the past and present collided in a precarious balance. Within the Joint Security Area, a simple bridge spanned the chasm between North and South Korea. It was known as the Bridge of No Return, a chilling moniker that spoke volumes about the ever-present danger. This bridge, a symbol of connection, had become a focal point of confrontation. In the summer of 1976, amidst the sweltering heat and simmering tensions, a routine tree trimming operation would transform this already volatile situation into a powder keg. The target, a towering poplar tree that had the audacity to obstruct the view between two checkpoints. On August 18, 1976, a group of American and South Korean soldiers set out to trim the poplar tree. The North Koreans, viewing this seemingly innocuous act as a provocation, demanded they stop. The Americans, their suspicions aroused by the vehemence of the North Korean response, pressed on. Suddenly, a truckload of North Korean soldiers arrived, led by a man identified only as Lieutenant Pak. Pak, wielding an axe, charged towards the work detail, screaming at them to cease their work. What followed was a chaotic melee, a whirlwind of fists, clubs, and desperation. When the dust settled, two American officers, Captain Arthur Boniface and Lieutenant Mark Barrett, lay dead on the ground. They had been brutally beaten to death, their bodies mutilated with the very axes meant for the tree. The poplar, now a silent witness to a horrific act, stood untouched. The world reeled in shock. The Cold War, often fought in the shadows, had erupted into a brutal and public display of violence. The killings sent shockwaves through the Korean Peninsula and beyond, raising the specter of a wider conflict. Section 6. The Axe Falls, a show of force. On August 21, 1976, just 3 days after the killings, Operation Paul Bunyan commenced. The operation involved over 800 American and South Korean troops, backed by B-52 bombers, fighter jets, and a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. The North Koreans, vastly outnumbered and outgunned, watched from their bunkers, their fingers hovering over the triggers of their artillery. The tension in the air was palpable. The world held its breath, bracing for another Korean War. But the tree fell without incident. The mission, if it could be called that, was a success. Section 7. The world holds its breath. As the poplar tree crashed to the ground, it felt like the entire world exhaled. The crisis, for now, had been averted. But the world was left to ponder the events of those tense days. Days when a simple tree had become a symbol of conflict, and a tree-cutting operation a demonstration of military might. The incident served as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace, particularly in the shadow of the Cold War. It was a testament to the human capacity for both violence and restraint, a sobering reminder that even the most mundane actions could have unintended and devastating consequences. Section 8. A tree falls in the forest. The aftermath. In the aftermath of Operation Paul Bunyan, the world breathed a collective sigh of relief. The operation, a show of force by the United States in response to the brutal killing of 2 American officers by North Korean soldiers, had successfully demonstrated the resolve of the US and its allies without further escalating into a full-blown conflict. The poplar tree was gone, but in its place stood a concrete monument, a silent testament to the two American officers who had lost their lives. This monument not only marked the spot of the tragic event, but also served as a poignant reminder of the cost of peace and the sacrifices made to maintain it. The incident served as a chilling reminder of the ever-present danger on the Korean Peninsula. The Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ, remained one of the most heavily fortified borders in the world, a stark symbol of the ongoing tension between North and South Korea. Soldiers on both sides continued their vigilant patrols, ever watchful for any signs of aggression. The North Koreans, in a rare act of contrition, issued a message of regret for the incident, though they stopped short of a full apology. This gesture, while limited, was significant in the context of the rigid and often hostile relations between the two Koreas. It hinted at a possible opening for dialogue, however tenuous. The incident served as a wake-up call for both sides, a stark reminder of the potential for miscalculation and the devastating consequences of escalation. Military exercises on the Korean Peninsula became more frequent and intense, as both sides sought to demonstrate their readiness and resolve. Meetings between US and South Korean officials were marked by a renewed sense of urgency as they worked to strengthen their alliance and prevent future incidents from spiraling out of control. Despite the heightened tensions, the aftermath of Operation Paul Bunyan also paved the way for renewed diplomatic efforts. Peace talks, though fraught with challenges, became a crucial avenue for reducing hostilities. Moments of cooperation, however rare, offered a glimmer of hope that a peaceful resolution could one day be achieved. Section 9. Echoes of the Cold War, a legacy of tension. The Korean Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ, stands as one of the most heavily fortified borders in the world. It is a stark reminder of the unresolved tensions that have lingered for decades. The story of Operation Paul Bunyan is a microcosm of the Cold War, a conflict fought not on battlefields, but in the shadows, where every move was calculated and every gesture scrutinized. It was a period marked by intense rivalry and mutual suspicion, a war of nerves where perception was often more important than reality. Leaders on both sides engaged in a high-stakes game of brinkmanship, where the slightest misstep could lead to catastrophic consequences. It was a time when even the most innocuous actions could be misconstrued, leading to heightened tensions and potential conflict. The daily lives of those near the DMZ were overshadowed by the constant threat of escalation, and when a single tree could become a flashpoint for international incident. The infamous tree-cutting incident at the DMZ in 1976, known as Operation Paul Bunyan, exemplifies how a seemingly minor event could spiral into a major confrontation. The Korean Peninsula remains divided today, a lasting legacy of the Cold War. The DMZ continues to be a symbol of the enduring conflict, with both sides maintaining a vigilant watch over the border. The Bridge of No Return still stands, a symbol of a conflict frozen in time. It serves as a poignant reminder of the many lives affected by the division and the families separated by the ideological divide. And the story of Operation Paul Bunyan serves as a reminder of the importance of communication, diplomacy, and the constant pursuit of peace. It underscores the need for vigilance and the delicate balance required to maintain stability in a region fraught with historical tensions. As we look to the future, the lessons of the past remain ever relevant. The ongoing efforts for peace and reconciliation on the Korean Peninsula highlight the enduring hope for a resolution to this long-standing conflict. The legacy of tension may persist, but so too does the aspiration for a harmonious future.